So, budding from Kerala and West Bengal, there is no such major opposition regarding this policy. And why they are opposing? And West Bengal is a unique case. They opposed on the one hand, and they didn't make a preparation, and then they adapted. What I perceive that especially even the BJP dominated state, barring from few states, that participants remain absolutely silent, especially in Rajasthan, Haryana, in this particular belt, including Punjab. I find that the responses are quite good. Yeah, absolutely. It's a kind of the old traditional habits of the teacher.
How is the
Okay,
adoption rate in, say, in
yes.
advanced states like, say, Tamil Nadu,
Uh,
Gujarat?
yeah, Gujarat is doing pretty well. Gujarat, even today I had a lecture at the Gujarat University, and really response, I really enjoyed the response, the way teacher got involved. That means the problem, right, is that it's a kind of a structural change. And this structural change in the education that has been brought through NEP 2020 is not that all of a sudden government came out with policy. But right from the 2000, even the then Congress government, they are slowly changing the academic structure, which is now the private players are there, now government is funding, and until and unless we have to tune with the economic reforms, that shrinking space of government job and complete change in the nature of the job, which is skill driven, and skill has again multiple layers. When I am talking about Indian knowledge system, it is actually reconciliations between formal knowledge and informal knowledge. The moment you will get into the informal knowledge, then you are getting into the informal economy. Once you are getting in the informal economy, actually you are addressing the issues of the skill. Still, at the policy level, I think some more thinking should be need to be put in. Just mere training and attending will not suffice because a huge amount of public resources are being spent.
Things on a scale of 10, how much point would you give to NEP adoption at the ground
NEP
level?
adoption, very objectively, I'll give 4.5 average for the India.
So barely passed, kind of.
Yeah.
Namaskar. This is Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim. In this episode, we will discuss the National Education Policy 2020, better known as NEP. I have with me Professor Dr. Anjan Chakrabarti. Welcome, Anjan.
Good evening, Pratim.
Anjan is Professor Director of Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, University of North Bengal. It is located in North Bengal, but its jurisdiction is, I think, wider than that.
It is entire India.
Right. Anjan, the NEP has been a major bone of contention first, and then everyone forgot about it. Almost. Yeah, I don't see much of debate in public sphere. So let me start from how many such centers are there in India, and how do you train? I mean, what is the gamut of your operations? Over to you.
Okay, so simply that there are 66 centers in India, and then the number increased by the present government, and it's now 150. And these 115 centers have been given the responsibility to carry on the orientation and sensitization program twice in a month and throughout the year. So that's the mandate of the Higher Education Ministry as well as University Grants Commissions, and adequate finance has been provided to all the centers. Subject to the conditions that with a certain time frame, there is a rough estimation that 15 lakhs teacher would be acquainted with the new education policy. At the same time, it has been introduced in 2020, and it is an expectations that now most of the institutions are likely to be in an implementing stage. So therefore, gradually the impact of the NEP would be visualized or would be felt. That is objectively the case.
Okay. So I presume that you teach only the college university teachers, right?
Absolutely. But in NEP, we have also added a component that the teachers of all kind of teachers, in the sense that any format, whether the contractuals or say, for example, working in a irregular mode rather than the irregular mode, including the research scholars, all of them across the India will be trained.
Right. So, but NEP starts right from school, and I understand a complete change in curriculum or the visualization of education. That is
Yeah,
what the
absolutely.
NEP aims to. It would start from right from school, right? And most of the
Yeah,
students drop out, and rightly so, after the high school,
yeah.
because you don't need graduates for everything. So they
So,
may be going to professional courses. So who trains the school teachers and
uh,
the
yeah.
professional course teachers?
Okay, so we are precisely putting emphasis on the college and university teachers, as I mentioned, and maybe the research call of the university. But in the school level, NEPA, they have conducted certain programs for the school teachers, but the coverage, especially in many states, more than many states, are much more less in comparison to the college and university. I'm talking about the coverage, not about the impact. This is point number one. Point number two, as you rightly pointed out, that what they will do with a degree, very precisely speaking, because after having a degree, a BA, MA, BC, MSc, there is no assurance of the job. So therefore, there are two ways to look at the issues. One way is to that the type of education rise from the school level to the postdoctoral level. There should be some kind of paradigm shift must be brought in to the extent that they can get tuned with the, say, for example, that economic reform that is initiated in 1991 and subsequently the entire structural changes that is taking place in India, including the job markets. So therefore, the education cannot remain in isolation. So some kind of integration process, keeping in mind that the employability and employment cannot be thought of only at the undergraduate level or postgraduate level, but the entire from the school level, it should address the issues at the apex level. And secondly, and importantly, another important issue involves here, that is that when we are talking about the school curricula and university curricula or undergraduate curricula, the previous, that is the entire British model of education, and maybe there is a gravitations from a British model of educations to US model of educations, and in between there is a inroads of the private players in all segments of categories, and there is a publicly funded institute. That how you will reconcile these two kind of institutions, and what kind of dream or kind of a confidence you can inject among the minds of the students, which is one of the root causes of the dropout. That in Hindi there is degree लेके क्या करेंगे, नौकरी तो मिलेगा नहीं. That this kind of psyche is actually penetrated among the huge segment of the society. So they are the basically the target.
Uh,
And if you have to bring a change, you have to uh, come out with out-of-box ideas, which NEP has created a certain flexibility, certain maneuvering, and the length of education, which was quite different from the Western countries. So, for example, that after doing a master's, I have to, if I have admit in Europe or US, I have to do the master's and this post-graduation because the length of education was different. So, some kind of global parity has been brought.
right. To me, the problem is not about not taking degrees, but about taking degrees, because what I find is too many people with degrees who are unemployables, and they know that these are paper degrees. So I really don't want too many people to take these graduation degrees, post-graduation degrees. That's useless. People waste their time over there. Maybe someone could have been good at something else by that time. Uh, that said, so I find that the school part is not yet covered. So that to me, you correct me if I'm wrong, to me, it's a major weakness because that student will come from school to college. So if that part, ideally, that part should have been completed first before taking over the colleges.
Absolutely. Here, one structural problem that we are having, that school education is primarily funded by the state government, barring from some central schools. But the higher education is in concurrent list. So if it is in the concurrent list and the apex body is university grants commissions, or for say technical institution is the AICTE. So therefore, the impact or the UGC's changes, it has keeping the federal structure and the way the federal structure has been politicized uh, for a pretty long period of time. In spite of that, we understand that, okay, whatever be mandated by the central government, but UGC, we try to delay the process, but we cannot ignore the process. But for school level, since it is completely state aided, that is a dominant, and the condition of the state aided school are so pathetic, and it's become insignificant for that matter, especially the state I belong to. So therefore, that is the area, it's a gray area that needs to be addressed.
Probably we are, I was about to ask you in the end about the success and failures, but probably we are getting a sense of where things are failing. Because unless, if you cannot water at the top, you have to water at the bottom, ideally.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the school education is the supply chain. It's just like a supply chain. What is happening?
Right.
The dropout rate is so high at the primary level, then upper primary level, and it is a pan-India structure. And especially the publicly funded
Barely 1 to
institutions.
2% people or a couple of percentage go for the higher education. That should be,
Absolutely.
ideally should be the ratio also.
Yeah.
I mean, why should everyone have a MA or MSc degree?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm completely in.
Now we know. So that means that the rollout or the implementation is not yet complete. That's a very sad part of the story. And I'd love to know if there are some 20 states out of 28 or 29 which are ruled by the BJP, whether they adopted it and how fast they are going with it.
Yes, please go ahead, Pratim.
Yeah, please.
So what I would like to have that if I take in that I just simply isolate the state of West Bengal and couple of states which are not run by the say for example the BJP, even the Congress-led states also, especially if I look at the say southern part, budding from Kerala, rest of the states, even I have the opportunity to even in Telangana, I have seen that they are consistently doing that one. So, budding from Kerala and West Bengal, there is no such major opposition regarding this policy. And why they are opposing? And West Bengal is a unique case. They opposed on the one hand, and they didn't make a preparation, and then they adapted. So the most futile result is coming from West Bengal. But when
let's
I
keep
was
West Bengal out because West Bengal
okay,
was a complete outlier of the whole system.
absolutely,
It tried to live as a separate country, unfortunately, and an enemy country, to be more precise.
absolutely.
So now back to our discussion on NEP.
Mhm.
So it has been already 5 years or 6 years have gone by.
Absolutely.
Just be precise that in your training, that is at the higher education level, how do you find how successful are these trainings? I mean, is
Okay.
there any follow-ups? I mean, is it another rope learning? You are teaching something and they are getting marks, and then they are going back and throwing your handbook out and doing whatever they were doing.
Okay. So what happened that at the every institutions at the policy level, they are telling that they are implementing it. Point number one. Point number two, when I was like even being a part as a resource persons, and since it is an all India level institute, so we do communicate with the teaching communities across the India through this particular programs. What I perceive that especially even the BJP dominated state, barring from few states, that participants remain absolutely silent. That means as if, okay, it's the institutional framework,
So it's a
might have changed.
passive.
Yeah,
Yes.
passive kind of things. But again, there are some exceptions are there where I really find that maybe, generally I'm telling you that other than most of the states, especially in Rajasthan, Haryana, in this particular belt, including Punjab, I find that the responses are quite good.
From Rajasthan, Haryana, and Punjab.
Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, they are really responding well.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
it
it's pretty
means
interesting.
something interesting is coming out of
Yeah,
this. So we all know, I mean, our audience should know that Punjab is not a BJP ruled state.
yeah.
So, which means that the adoption or acceptance or active participant is is a politics agnostic. It is more of a state culture, or I mean, it's not related to politics. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a kind of the old traditional habits of the teacher.
How is the
That, okay,
adoption
I
rate in, say, in
yeah.
advanced states like, say, Tamil Nadu,
uh,
Gujarat?
hmm. Yeah, Gujarat is doing pretty well. Gujarat, even today I had a lecture at the Gujarat University,
Hmm.
uh, and really response, I really enjoyed the response, the way teacher got involved. That means the problem, right, is that it's a kind of a structural change. And this structural change in the education that has been brought through NEP 2020, it's not that all of a sudden government came out with policy. But right from the 2000, even the then Congress government, they are slowly changing the academic structure, which is the term uh, often used that the ecosystem. So that changes are taking place in a say, for example, in a piecemeal basis. And here, this particular government realized that, okay, now the private players are there, now government is funding, and until and unless we have to tune with the economic reforms, that shrinking space of government job and complete change in the nature of the job, which is skill driven, and skill has again multiple layers. So until and unless I can create this ambience through the institution, the connect between society and the institute. The connect was absolutely kind of a very poor connection between society and institute. That means, okay, I am thinking that I'm giving enough back to my society. But at the end of the day, if the dropout remains high, if after studying, they realize that, okay, there is no hope by studying and getting these degrees. So that changes teacher yet to understand properly, institution used to understand properly. It's not that they're not implementing, but they are more going by black and white. It's not a case of black and white. Just if I allow me 2 minutes, there are just 8 parameters. That means it's a kind of a just like a building that on 8 pillars this entire NEP has constructed, and everybody can take out positively something out of this. Now, say for example, I'm just naming it these major parameters: Indian knowledge system, holistic and multidisciplinary education, academic leadership, governance and management, student diversity and inclusive education, research and development, higher education and society, information and communication technology, and skill development. And if you closely follow, only 3 parameters which are completely new addition to this policy. One is Indian knowledge system, second is holistic and multidisciplinary education, third is the skill development. Rest of the parameters were there in the institution. Say,
Right.
like I can say over here. Now, why these 3 parameters? And all are very interconnected. What is happening to the most of the institutions, as I have seen and understood, that okay, they cannot deal these 8 parameters, that they are very strongly correlated. That means I cannot leave aside one and move with one. Or maybe I am taking 2, 3 things at a time and not thinking that all are collective. Here, actually, the NEP requires much more rigorous thinking, rigorous debate, not debate, rather, rigorous discussions. And there is another important issue that is involved, and I was quite sure that government of India, they understood that the type of diversity India is having, the regional specificity one institution has, the interface with society, that is absolutely heterogeneous country like. So therefore, any singular policy to become effective, they have to understand their institutions and their surrounding first. Then can become global player
So
and
they
all.
address the primary acquisitions
Yeah.
that the policies are come in a one size fits all or for all shape. So they address that issue and
Yeah.
gave the freedom at the lower level to design their courses, kind of.
Not only design their courses, there are a couple of very good things. And there, one thing is that okay, earlier once you will get into a college or universities, you have to regular students and you have to certain periods you have to cover, maybe 3 years, or now it's 4 years. and university it is 2 years now, gradually it will become 1 year. Now what they made it flexible. That means multiple entry and exit. Now these actually giving an
That is the
institution,
American system, I understand, right?
yeah, American system, but it is giving some kind of advantages to the institution which is located in a very disadvantageous position, maybe geographically, then in terms of resources. Why I am telling it, that it has also given, when I am talking about Indian knowledge system, it is actually reconciliations between formal knowledge and informal knowledge. The moment you will get into the informal knowledge, then you are getting into the informal economy. Once you are getting in the informal economy, actually you are addressing the issues of the skill that require to augment the informal sector, push up the informal sector. These the college and institutions they fail to understand. So I shouldn't think that my students will be here for 4 years. Most of the institutions are trying for that. But I have to created a curriculum. I'm sorry to say, the multidisciplinary, they realize that it is a kind of a basket. You can study mathematics and literature or physics with music. It's not that. Okay, that is one aspect. The other aspect, that you look at your regional resource base, regional informal or sub-regional level informal knowledge system, traditional knowledge system.
I'm stopping you for want of time, but
Yeah,
I mean that is exactly what I saw at the school level. They are going by the old formula. You know, in the
yeah,
old formula, if you remember, in the good old days, the vocational papers that we had, right?
absolutely.
So there were actually, the board gave wide options, but most schools offered one or two,
Yeah,
right? So,
absolutely.
so actually at ground level, the options were less, number one.
Yeah.
Number two is that they discourage to adopt something else. Or if you take, you are on your own kind of situation. So that is what I found in the school level. The I'm talking about good schools, costly
Yeah,
schools,
yeah,
right? That even they are not offering this. They are not thinking in these terms.
absolutely.
Now, I have a question. Uh, that do you rate? You have your own understanding. You know that whether you are telling me that who are responsive and who are not. So, does it reflect in any kind of grading that you do,
Okay, just
so that
one.
their career suffers?
First of all, they are not at all graded, number one. Number two, one important thing that is required, that how much you are actually, your institution is with implementing the NEP and what you brought it, the experiences. I frequently tell them, what is your experiences? And it will vary from institution X to institutions Y. So that remain absolutely still at the policy level. I think some more thinking should be need to be put in. Just mere training and attending will not suffice, because a huge amount of public resources are being spent. This is one issue. Another issue, the question of affordability. The private institutions, they are looking at the technological part, high skill part. But if you look at the entire school education and the reference you have given, the vocational courses, so there lies the two-thirds of the people. And
Right.
this two-thirds of the people, they have a problem of affordability. They have a problem that what I will do in terms of livelihood. And there the all kind of categories, say a plumber, a carpenter, a
You
mason,
see,
a
often
electrician.
often we bring in the affordability issue, but to me, more than affordability, it is about the guidance issue. Because what I
Absolutely.
see in cities is even the house helps, they don't intend to put their children in government schools. They try to go somewhere. The aspirations are rising. So it is about, these are the first generation educated lot.
Absolutely. And I'll just give one example. Say in West Bengal, again, I brought it, even if you say it loudly. So the primary education's just, it's almost got dismantled. And you see that even in the remote village, anything, English medium, even the poorest, they are sending their kids. Now, had we have a policy that have a kind of a, the same institutions, maybe
Now,
teaching in
that's
the
a, that's
vernacular.
a Bihar syndrome. You see what
Yeah,
happened. Bihar didn't have for quite some time. They didn't have the schools and etc. So what happened is a lot of very cheap English medium schools came up,
yeah, yes,
but these are of extremely poor quality. But if you go to Assam or if you go to Kerala and Tamil Nadu, they are both, since the government school standards are good, so the private school standards are also, there's a value for money, right?
Absolutely.
In West
That means
Bengal, that is not the case. I
not.
can tell you the costliest, I have experience of paying salaries at the costliest schools, and there is barely much accountability.
Absolutely. I am completely in unanimity with that. And here requires a kind of a intervention or some ideas and some kind of regulation is required. The word regulation sounds lit hollow, bit old school kind of thought. But here some kind of monitoring, and in addition to monitoring, some kind of evaluation, continuous evaluation.
Yeah,
I
that
got
is where
very
I was.
good example in Assam. And people generally think in other ways. So I went to deliver a lecture and I realized the college teachers, they have been assigned to go to the school and they are evaluating how teachers are doing, how students are doing.
Now, that kind of pressure, accountability must be built on the system. Otherwise, they will just go and spend their time.
Absolutely. And one thing I would like to say that I think time is almost ticking out.
Yeah.
That you won't have to go far away to understand that. One person I would like to refer, that is Tagore. He did it very successfully in Sriniketan. What he did, you know the story of Sriniketan at the Tagore's effort of village reconstruction.
It's an ideal village.
Ideal village. He blended all kind of skills with the education. And there is a cooperative system. And he did it for 7, 8 villages. So if that
he addressed finance, he addressed skill, he addressed agriculture, commerce, everything, every aspect of it. Cottage industries.
And he didn't go for a kind of a very big kind of entrepreneurship. It's simple. No. And see, there's a huge market.
But don't forget that he comes from an entrepreneurial family.
Yeah, but we didn't follow that particular model.
No, we forgot the entrepreneur Tagore.
Yeah.
We
only just eulogize as a demigod. And
very quickly, in couple of sentences, because you took a lot of time in explaining. Where did things on a scale of 10, how much point would you give to NEP adoption at the ground
NEP
level?
adoption, very objectively, I'll give 4.5 average for the India.
So barely passed, kind of.
Yeah. Yet to be even, like I was a bit liberally marked.
They might fail even. Some states will fail.
Yeah.
And probably we are in one of those states.
Yeah, because see, the major policy framework of the government, it didn't change. So 1991 reforms, 2000 reform, no government has reverted it. We need to understand the structural change, and education has to be changed with that. We are missing the bus there. Absolutely missing the bus.
Someone Jagannathan wrote today that we excel in missing the bus. In India, we excel in missing the bus. You can read it in today's Times of India, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, in the op-ed. So, if you decide to miss the bus, no one can stop you. That is exactly the story of West Bengal we all know. And it didn't happen when you ruin your education, when you don't think about your education, you are bound to fail in all other areas. And look, that is exactly what happened to the state.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And the thing is that here, which government is promoting, just you ignore it. Just
it's not a case of
because it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process. The change is a continuous process. That we need to understand. I am telling you, if anyone read correctly that NEP, they will find 2% presence very clear. One is Tagore and another is Gandhi. So they are implicitly present, but we fail to understand.
Thanks. Let us end this discussion over here. We will pick it up from here some other day. Thank you very much, Anjan.
Thank you very much, Pratim, for allowing me. And being a teacher, I have always had a habit of speaking a lot.
That's your privilege.